Okay, let's try that. Is that okay, or is that not good enough?
That's fine.
Okay, all right. I have to give credit to this photograph. When I was interviewed by the Santa Fe magazine, which is Santa Fean, which is now gone. We now have the Santa Fe magazine, which is a local magazine up our way. It talks about everything that's going on, not only in Santa Fe, but I think all around New Mexico. They sent a photographer out to my studio, and I have two African gray parrots that live in my studio world, and they're both very personable. And she just happened, it was such a great moment. She was on my shoulder when this woman came in, and I hadn't gotten her off my shoulder yet. I wasn't planned to do this. And she said, oh, leave the bird on your shoulder because it makes a great photograph. Because you see all the time, you see people standing at their easel and pretending to paint, and we go, oh, snooze. I have seen that 100 times. And that just made it different. And that is the sort of thing that you want to look for. Anytime that you're taking a photograph or using an image for something, try and think about, I wasn't even going to talk about that, but it just came to my head when I got up here. Think about what you can do to make your image part of who you are. I am a tornado. I have crazy energy. I have birds in my studio that make lots of noise. That's who I am. But that really does tell a story, and people will remember that. Before I dive into the slideshow, which has a lot of information, I have no idea if we can get this done in 40 minutes or not, so I just did everything, and then if it fits, it fits. I'm going to do a shameless plug. I'm teaching a workshop in August at the Pecos Monastery. Now, almost everybody here are advanced painters. They've been doing it a long time. But if you know people who are just getting started and they don't know what materials they need, they've never experimented with papers or different pastels or setups to do plein air, all of that's covered in my 3-day workshop. And it's barely, I think it's just a little over $700. It's a private room and a bathroom. In the monastery, we have our own building, so we can be loud and crazy artists. We don't have to walk around on tiptoe and be silent. We have 3 meals a day included in all of that, and meet for 3 days. So it's 4 nights and 3 days, and it's in a beautiful place. There's lots and lots to paint. We're going to be outside painting 2 of the 3 days that we're there. So it's a great introduction for people who are just getting started. And there's some postcards up there that talk about the workshop and my dates and stuff like that. Kurt?
I just took a workshop with Tobi, the Sunset workshop. I'm still overwhelmed with how much I learned. It's just incredible. I had a lot of people talk to me about color theory. The first person that really spoke to me in a way that I could do something with color theory. Really appreciate that. So, I would almost encourage anybody to take your class.
Oh, thank you.
Enlightening for me.
Well, and I do bring the color story in. We talk value, we talk color story, because the reason I do what I do so well is that I'm a colorist. I was a hair colorist and hairdresser for 25 years. So I started painting when I was 50, for fun, and it was a hobby, and I did it for 3 years as a hobby, and I did it plein air because I love to be outdoors. I couldn't garden because I have all these things that don't work from being a hairdresser for so many years, so my spine is a mess. And during that time, because I love challenges, I just got better and got more aggressive about it. And when COVID hit, I shut my business down at 60. And I said, okay, at 60, my next career is going to be, I'm going to be an artist. So I've done it in a short amount of time. Some of that is just pure luck and personality and push. And talent came in as I kept working. And I still have to work more. I just told Kirk I'm going to take a year off from teaching so I can paint more and become a better artist. So that never changes. You got to go back and forth. Okay, so let's get started because there's a lot to talk about. So you consider the available options you have to you. Print ads and magazine ads and newspapers are the things that are the most obvious. So we're going to start with that one. Postcards, business cards, website, social media, organizations and shows, galleries, and networking. Alrighty? Print ads, you got to be clear about your goals. When I started, I have no marketing background. I have no graphic arts background. I was a fashion designer and a hairdresser. I had to figure it all out. I didn't know how to use Lightroom. I didn't know how to take professional photographs. I hate the computer with a passion. And I had to navigate and learn all that stuff. And if you're going to do this, you have to learn. You have to make yourself do this or have a lot of money to pay somebody to do it for you. And I did a little bit of that at first too. So you have to ask yourself those questions. Are you going to go full-time? Are you just wanting to work locally and occasionally? And are you exploring it just as a hobby? Right? So that's going to determine how much effort and money you're going to spend and where you're going to take your advertising. Do you need to advertise? Okay, so repeat it on this. Sorry about that. Yep.
What is a processional artist?
No, thank you for catching it. Okay, let me preface this.
Sorry.
Thank you. No,
Got it.
Letty, I am dyslexic. And I did not have time for my person who always edits everything for me to look at this. So there's probably going to be some spelling boo-boos, and I would appreciate it if you would tell me where they are, because I don't see them. My eyes just, numbers and letters just flip around on me, okay? So anyways, familiarize yourself with magazines. If you're going to market yourself, where would your art fit? Why spend the money for an ad if you don't know who you are and what you're going to do? Different magazines charge differently. The bigger ones, the better quality ones are going to charge a little more. For any of you that have looked, there are 3 big companies out there right now. Streamline is Plein Air and Fine Art Connoisseur. Probably most of you know that. And that's where these magazines came from. They were gifted to us. I just asked for them and they were willing to send them. They do a really quality magazine. It's a big magazine, it's quality. It looks great. International publishing is American Art Collector, Western Art Collector, you can read all this. Fine Art Magazine, International Artists, they have a lot. And they have wonderful magazines. They're really good. I had subscriptions to all of these at one point. Well, the International Artists I did for a while, and the American Art Collector. That's where a lot of people market themselves as American Art Collector. If you're in the plein air world, you're probably going to go with plein air. And if you're really high up, you're doing portraiture or you're doing really elegant, sophisticated work, Fine Art Connoisseur becomes a good fit, or really beautiful landscapes. And Peak Media now is Pastel Journal, Watercolor Magazine, Artist Magazine, and I forgot Southwest. It fell out there, but they're part of Southwest Art. And that, as you all know, I don't know if any of you know, but it got purchased. The magazine sold and somebody else came in and bought it. I've heard very negative things lately. People call, they can't get subscriptions, they can't get through to people. I don't know personally about it, but I've just heard some things that make it challenging. If you've noticed, Pastel Journal's gotten smaller and smaller and smaller since Maggie Price had it, and now it's only 4 times a year. So you want to pay attention to how often a magazine comes out, and how long your ad's going to be there, and how long that magazine is going to sit next to somebody's bedside table before it goes away. Those are all things to think about. So determine which magazine best suits your objective. How often is it published? In your media kit, which I'm going to talk about next, all that information comes. How many subscriptions that magazine has, the reach, the outreach. Is it in local newsstands, and where? Where can people buy it? That's critical if you're going to spend the money. And for those of you who don't know, like better magazines like Plein Air, the ads are about $900 for a half a page. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So you got to know why you're spending it, what your objective is, and where you're going to put it. You got to do your homework. Buy a subscription. Watch the magazines. Read them. What do they talk about? What editorials are in them? What is the quality of the writing? What's the quality of the art? Start looking at the magazines, because there's a very different quality of art in Southwest Art Magazine compared to a Plein Air or a Fine Art Connoisseur. It's a different market. They're both valuable. They both have a place. I got started in Southwest Art Magazine. They did an article on me for artists to watch. You start somewhere. You get your foot in the door wherever you can, and you go from there. But pay attention to the quality, because it does vary. So also look at the designs of the ads, okay? print ad, magazine ads, what is your objective? Are you going to attract collectors? Are you marketing workshops? Are you attracting gallery interest? I want to talk about those three things just quickly, and I want to ask everybody in here. Has anybody sold a piece of art through a print ad in a magazine? You have?
Yep.
Okay. In the probably 10 years I've been advertising, I've sold one painting. That's not a bad thing, but don't have the expectation that you're going to spend $900 and make a sale. You probably won't. Most artists I talk to don't advertise for that purpose because you're not going to make big sales. You have to be in there a lot, often. That's a lot of money. Marketing your workshops, I've done really well. I get people from all over the United States coming to my workshops because they saw my work or they saw an editorial on me in one of the magazines. So my ads are geared toward marketing my workshops. I don't expect to sell a painting. If I do, that's great. But for me, it's about that. And when I sent out like to 5 of my good friends that are up there, even higher than me, how many of you sold paintings through this? I asked Nancy Sylvia. She's never sold a painting through an ad. So there's a mixed story around that. Don't go in expecting to sell art. Attracting gallery interest. I don't know anybody that's gotten an invitation to be in a gallery from an ad. Probably an editorial, if you can get up to that level. But how often do you look at a magazine and flip through and look at ads? I mean, do you really sit there and go, wow, look at that ad? No, you read the editorial and you see the ads. You don't. I don't even as an artist. Rarely do I look at the ads. But you want to start looking at them to analyze them. And right now we don't have a lot of light to see ads in the backs of magazines, but I'm going to come back to this. So you want to know what your objective is. Sorry, these things are coming up sort of out of order, and it's also because I didn't have my slideshow wizard check everything for me. I'm still learning how to do slideshows. This is my second one, and I'm still working out the kinks. Okay, so we did this. Know your objective. So here's the juicy stuff. When you're interested and you think you want to do it and you've identified where you want to go, you're going to contact your sales representative or your marketing representative, and that is information that's usually in the very front of your magazine, and you ask for a media kit. And a media kit is going to tell you their editorials for the year. If they run something every month, it's going to tell you what stories they're going to talk about every month. Makes sense to think that you might want to advertise when they're talking about something that relates to what you do. I don't want to be in the portrait issue as a sky painter, a landscape artist. I want to be in the issue that talks about landscapes or big skies. And in the plein air magazine, it's usually in Fine Art Connoisseur. This year they did it in plein air. They have blue skies and beyond, and they have like 6 pages of skies. I didn't make the cut this year, but I've made the cut the last 2 years in Fine Art Connoisseur. And that's free publicity. When you know your sales rep, and you've done some marketing, your sales rep is going to bend over backward to tell you, if they're a good sales rep, to tell you what's coming up, things that might be of interest to you. Okay, I know we're going to be doing an editorial on skies, Toby. You need to send me 4 images, and I'm going to put them in front of the editor. That's what a sales rep will do for you. You're not just buying an advertising moment. You're getting somebody that's starting to look out for who you are as an artist and how you're growing. Gina Ward is the advertising person for plein air and Fine Art Connoisseur for our area. And she made sure Natasha got placed in magazines, the right magazines. And that just shot Natasha right up because she got invited to the Cowgirl shows and all the bigger shows for plein air. But Gina helped drive that. That's what a good marketing rep will do for you. all kinds of things. They're going to consider what you can afford, which would be the most effective magazines for you to be in. So you're buying a lot more than an ad. You're buying a connection into an industry, somebody that knows all the galleries, knows who runs all those galleries, knows where maybe you'd be a good fit. Maybe they put something in front of those galleries for information about who you are. We just walked Canyon Road yesterday. There's a gallery on Canyon Road that's looking for new artists. And she's going to pull from her group and send links to those artists. That's really valuable. That's super valuable, those kind of connections. So think of your dollars being spent in a way that you're branding yourself and you're buying yourself a connection into a world that has a lot of successful people in it. Gee, I want to make videos, but I don't know how. Somebody like Gina will say, Lori Putnam's done a great job. She's elevated herself, blah, blah, blah. Let me give you her information. I bet she'll talk to you. That's super valuable because I wouldn't just know who to call or go to. Okay. So, plan to run multiple ads. Really think about the wow factor of your ad. And if you can't afford it, you do quarter page ads. Everybody's seen them. Unfortunately, quarter page ads most of the time are toward the back of the magazine. And they're grouped together. A half a page ad is going to be mixed in throughout the magazine. And it definitely has more wow factor than a quarter page ad. Also costs a lot more. So you have to decide, the bang for the buck. Maybe you do 2 half-page ads and you put them in the magazines with good editorial. Or maybe you do 4 quarter-page ads and you decide how you're going to space them out throughout the year. That's something that you have to determine. Most of these magazines have special things, like this one, the Fine Art Connoisseur did something on Collector's Guide to Santa Fe. Heck yeah, I wanted to be in that. So, my gallery wasn't going to do an ad initially. She did. But she did it after I bought an ad for myself. And so, I'm in this magazine. And they actually pulled a picture. I mean, these are the kinds of things you guys, they're so small, but they're consistent. Here I am painting in front of the gallery. Nobody even knows who that is. It doesn't really matter. But I try and get in any place I can. So you send stuff all the time to the person that is your sales rep, and they put it in front of the editor, and things get picked. Okay, really critical. I didn't know any of this at first. I tried a lot of different people to do my graphics. I tried figuring out what branding is. Oh my God, what are you as an artist? How do you brand yourself? What does that mean? I couldn't even tell you how much money I've spent doing all the wrong things. I still don't know if I'm doing the right things, but I have started to find out what works. But you have to build a sense of who you are for people, in whatever form that is. The photographs, the vibe of your website, and everything has to work together. Your ads, like these postcards, are similar. They have a feel to them. Your fonts stay the same. Your imagery stays the same. The way you present your information stays the same. If you keep changing your ads around all the time, I think I've got some things with some ad. See if it's next. Okay, what happened? There we go. Well, we'll come back to this. Okay, so it's a little bit later. I'm jumping ahead of myself. If you're going to spend the money on advertising, you want to have something that stays the same in all the magazines. And you don't want to keep changing it up. I don't know how many times I changed ads and fonts, and I didn't like this and I didn't like that. Also, it's very hard when you're looking at your photographs and everything online to see what it's going to look like in print. That's a whole nother game changer because it gets changed to CMKY. Things come out, you spent $800 or $900. I had a 6-page editorial in Plein Air magazine. I worked my butt off to put it together, and when it came out in print, the photographs looked so dull, and it was such a disappointment because my work is so vibrant. I thought I set good images, but they didn't translate well. So you have to work with a really good graphic designer. You have to work with somebody that can take your images, show you what they're going to look like in print form, CMKY print form. And they look different sometimes. And you got to sometimes punch up the colors and change things around a little bit. All of that takes time, and you've got to have somebody really good helping you. I've just now, after all these years, got a website that I think is polished, and I have an ad program that I think is polished, and they all work together. And it's taken a lot of time, and a lot of money, and a lot of mistakes. So, one way to start, if you're at the beginning and you're wanting to figure out how to start marketing yourself, use your organizations. They always run ads that are group ads. They're smaller, so they cost you less. The groups organizations usually get a little bit better pricing. And you can afford a smaller ad. You've got somebody doing your graphics for you. So you don't have to pay $200, $150 or more, depending on how often you change your ads. So it really helps to start by doing it that way. You get smaller and you support your organization. Because what a lot of people don't know is when a group runs an ad, they usually get something in return that they can use for shows. They get subscription things, or they get a half-page ad they can give away as part of an award. So when you're marketing and advertising with your organization, you're supporting your organization also. And a group ad is never in the back. It might be a little ad, you might have a little, it is somewhere in the magazine because they're promoting the organization and a show that you're going to do. And that's what good magazines will do. They will promote you and your show. Same thing if you have a show coming up. They're going to give you little blips and blurbs on different things they have, their newsletters. You might not get an editorial in the magazine about your show, but somewhere online or in one of their things, your ad rep's going to get something in that says you have a show coming up. They do that for you. They watch out for you if you have a good ad rep. Okay, any questions? No? Okay. You just got to jump in if you have a question.
Do you pay a sales rep?
No, you buy an ad.
You buy an ad, I see.
You buy an ad in a magazine. And I don't know if I hear group advertising. Okay, just did that. So I'm going to stop here for a second. That's a fun picture, yeah? That was out at the monastery. The power of running an ad, I'm just going to recap the importance of this, is it's not what you think. You're branding yourself. You're telling a whole lot of people who you are. It takes a lot of ad marketing for people to see you out there. But sooner or later, somebody sees you. Your ad rep puts you in front of the editor of the magazine, and the editor gives you something. In Plein Air, I got a 6-page spread on how to do ad, instructional ad. That 6-page of free marketing. So that was payback for all the years I bought half-page ads. That's how I look at it. But it got me in front of the editor. I didn't buy that. I mean, in a sense, I didn't go and pay for an editorial. But as you elevate yourself up and people are seeing who you are, you're getting invited to things. You're getting invited to other shows. You're getting invited to be put in front of the editor who might use your stuff in something. A small editorial where you're just one of many, or maybe it's the focus is completely on you. It just depends on how good you are and what the editor is going to be doing at the time. And being bold never hurts. I've never been accused of being quiet and subtle. But everybody knows this image because they've seen it a ton of times. A friend of mine took it, and it was so much fun, and we were just being silly, but it was so powerful. I've used it on a lot of my marketing because it really says who I am. So imagery is, really important. Okay, so here's consistency. This was one of the ads that I ran. And I have all my information at the bottom. I talk about my workshops, who I am, and how you can contact me. And although I pay for my advertising, not the gallery, we're going to get to that when we get to galleries. I put the gallery I'm represented on there. It's prestige. It's also respectful. So her name, this gallery is on there, even though she's not paying for it. There's another thing. You just got to get past all that, and you run your own ads. You run them the way you want. You put them where you want. And you continue to build and promote yourself. How many times have you read the copy at the bottom of an ad? Anybody ever read the copy at the bottom of an ad? Rarely. I want you to know who I am. That's my focus. If you know who I am and you're excited about it, you might read the copy. But if you're going to give away that much space, I'm this, I'm here, I'm going to do that, I'm at this event, if they're interested, they're going to go to your website, and they're going to go to your events, and they're going to see what you're doing.
Tobi, who do you recommend to host the website and to register the website with?
I'm going to get there.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Spend the time early, which I didn't do, understanding the importance of using your real estate. Don't give away a lot of it to blankness. Fill that page up with something. Get a big wow so they remember who you are. This was my first opportunity, Southwest Art. Southwest Art gave me Artists to Watch, gave me 2 pages, talked about who I was. Then the Santa Fean came in, they gave me 2 whole pages in their art issue. Artists to Watch, that was with the bird on my shoulder. Then Southwest Pastel Journal contacted me and said, can you write an article for us? I said, sure. What I teach in my introduction class is an introduction to paper. When you first start, how many people even knew there were all the papers out there? I mean, I started and I used Art Spectrum. I didn't know. Occasionally UArt. I didn't know what else was out there. I didn't see it in our local stores. I didn't know anything about materials. I teach all about the different papers, why they're different, how they respond, and I talk about pastels. So it was a real easy thing for me to take into an article. Because I'm dyslexic, I pay somebody to edit everything I write. I'm a good storyteller. Janice St. Marie did all the editorial for me on this and checked everything because she is the grammar queen. But I talked him into 2. Be bold. Oh, this won't fit into 1. Can I have 2? So I was in 2 magazines, 2 issues back to back. So the first was the dance between paper and pastels, and then the second one was selecting pastels, a user's guide. These are all on my website. If anybody wants to go read the articles, you can easily open them up and read them online and read about the detail. So that used to be my pastel box. I have a whole different system now that I've migrated to. So this is just a bigger picture. You have to build all these little things when you're introduced. All right, I didn't even know how to take pictures. Now I got to figure out how to set up lights, how to set up a camera, do these little demo things, take photographs. I don't write. I hate to write because my brain is jumbled. I can talk really well, but I can't write. So writing is really hard. And I can tell you as an artist, we're all struggling through every challenge we do as an artist. It's tough to do art. You cannot be a wimp and do art. There's no way. This was a whole nother jump in learning how to do stuff. Plein Air magazine. Again, I got 8 pages in Plein Air. So, it was great. And then sequentially, 2 or 3 more times I got included in editorials. I advertise in Plein Air magazine maybe 2 ads. I think the most I've ever done are 4 a year. I don't spend a whole lot of money. I have over the time. I've pulled back. But I keep myself out there. I choose where I'm going to go. For instance, I'm going to back up before I go into this. This last issue of Fine Art Connoisseur did that whole collector's guide to Santa Fe. And Gina contacted me, I wasn't going to do any ads this year, and said, we're doing something on Santa Fe, what do you think? I called the gallery and said, you want to do an ad? No, can't afford it, I don't have the money right now. She did eventually do an ad, but I bought one for myself because I thought it was important to be represented. I thought that was, I took charge of my own marketing. And sometimes that's what you have to do. You can't count on somebody else to do it for you. So here's an example. Let me just show this to you. Just from a distance. You see the big poppy? Fills the whole page. Look at the one right above it. You're going to go right by it. You're not even going to stop and look. Fill the page. You're paying a lot for that page. That was a hard lesson. So somewhere along the way, being in all these magazines, I get a call from Pratik's Desai. I get this lovely woman on the phone with a beautiful accent saying, we want to do an 8-page article on you. And I said, this is a scam. I went online. I got the email. I'm like, no way. I was sure it was a scam. You're going to ask me for money. You're going to want me to send you. No. It was an 8-page article. The drag was, it was 2 weeks before I was supposed to have an opening. And it took a week to do everything for 8 pages. These things take huge amounts of time to build. You're getting free advertising and free marketing. Nobody pays you. Nobody pays you for this. Pastel Journal paid me $250. They're the only ones that paid. Nobody else pays you. They consider you that you're getting free advertising. That's what you get. But you put in a week of your life. And I mean, every time I thought I was done, she asked me for one more thing. I'm not kidding. I mean, can we have a picture of your box? I'm up on a ladder trying to pick. My box was like this. I'm trying to get a photo of my pastel box. And it was one more thing. And I kept thinking, I have got to frame my art for the show. So, you juggle a lot of balls. You're trying to market yourself. You don't know anything. I didn't know anything. And I'm trying to look professional and present information in a professional way. So you jump into this stuff. Sorry for the really bad image, but I had to pull it off of something that wasn't real clear. But anyway, I got the cover of that magazine, by the way. That was the other cool thing. They gave me the cover. I've never been on the cover of a magazine in this country. I got the cover. This is a huge magazine. It only comes out once a year. It is fabulous. I wish we had this quality of magazine in this country for pastelists. It's huge. You don't even have to read to look at it. Buy it when it comes out and just look at the pictures and look at the instructional things of how things are done. It is so well put together and so beautiful. It's thick and it only comes out once a year. But it has a lot of American artists in it. So what did this do for me? It bought me a connection into France. When they had this, it was supposed to be the year of the woman, and when COVID hit, would hit during the year of the woman, wouldn't it? We were supposed to go to France, and we were going to have a 3-week trip. It was going to be our anniversary trip. It was going to be all these wonderful things, and I was going to be one of 14 American women invited to go in an exhibition just for women pastelists, and 30 European women pastelists in another beautiful building on this estate that was part of this town. It was old buildings on La Rogerie. I can't say that word to save my life. La Rogerie. And it was this gorgeous building with light, and there were 14 really well-known artists there. Clement Smith, not Jean, there's another, Lana Ballett. The list goes on and on. All these people I've always wanted to meet and have never met. I was so excited to meet other American women. 3 years later, we got to go, and 4 women showed up. That's all we had there, 4, out of the original 14 that were going to go. So it was kind of disappointing. But the facilities, and they waited on us hand and foot. They had tours. They put us up at a hotel. They paid for my husband's breakfast in his hotel room. They had events planned. I did a 3-day workshop. with a translator, because I don't speak French, and an amazing demo at the end of 2 whole days after trying to have jet lag, because our plane got there really late. They picked us up on Thursday, and everything hit on Friday, and we just worked through the weekend. So, I got to do this demo in front of everybody. All these people came. So over the years of knowing I didn't get to go to this for 3 years, I reached out and I networked to women pastelists. I started looking at the pastel societies there and seeing who was doing work that I loved and making Facebook connections with them. And do you know what? I felt like a rock star when I was there. They all came to meet me because we built these friendships for 2 years. That's the networking web that you throw out for every single thing that comes along. You think about, how can I use this? How can I talk about it in my newsletters? How can I put it on Facebook? How do you build excitement about who you are and what you're achieving out there? Okay. Any questions about ad marketing, print marketing, before we move on? Okay. There's not much to say. We're using less and less and less paper. Everybody's looking at everything online. I haven't even bought business cards in I don't know how long. I don't use them. I should, but I don't. I do these really great postcards that I make. But there are companies like Moo. Moo is one of them that does really interesting things, a step above Vistaprint. The shapes of their cards, they can do like 50 cards, business cards, and on one side you can put anything you want, images. You can change all your images. So you can have one side, doesn't matter if it's front or back, put one side with your contact information, and the other side can have 30 paintings. You know, a different painting on every card. They're the only one I know that does that. There might be others, because I didn't spend a lot of time researching it, but they're one that will do that kind of a thing. Otherwise, it's one image on all your cards. So that's good to know. Continuation of your marketing and branding. Looks a lot like the ad, right? I continued with it all. So, talks about all that stuff over there, workshops, what's available, who I am a little bit, but the front of the card stays the same and it repeats itself. Websites. Why do you need a website? How are we doing on time? Time check?
It's 11:32.
Okay, and I have till,
28 minutes.
I'm gonna get done ahead of time. I talk really fast. Okay, your website is a catalog of all your work. There's really no other place. I mean, where do you put it? You take pictures of all this stuff. The gallery has I have a file on my website, on my computer where I have all the work that's in my gallery, but you need a place to put all your work and tell a little bit about it, the price of it. It's a place to sell your work. So you build your website with effective branding, storytelling, whether it's just the little bits of poetry that I put on the ads, you saw that, the little stories. Why do I paint the skies that I paint? There's a whole story for that. It's on my website. It talks about why I do what I do and why I title my pieces the way that I do so that people get to know who I am. That's effective branding and representation of your art. Somebody's going to go to your website and I watch it. There's an analytical thing in the back. You can open it up like after you've run an ad. You can see if anybody's even gone to your website to look at your website. You can see the ups and downs of people reaching out and contacting you. You can see how many people are reaching you through other people's websites. People that host workshops for you, for instance. You can see how many people came to your website to see who you were from Bluebird Studios. How many hits you got. So it tells you a lot. It's also your face to anybody that's looking for you, whether it's a collector or a gallery. They're going to know how professional you are. They're going to know how far you are in your career based on what your website looks like, how well presented it is, how organized you are. So it really it tells you a lot there. It's also a place to market your events, your workshops, your newsletters. You have a newsletter in your format. I use FASO, for whoever asked, right? It's Fine Art Studios Online, FASO. I'm sure there's other ones out there. I don't know because I started with them. They have templates that you can start with that are very basic, that you can start plugging in all your information. And I'm going to tell you right now, for somebody who doesn't like computers, it was an overwhelming wash of information and fear and shutdown. And oh my God, what have I done? Because I got into it and went, this is massive. And as I got further into doing it, over the years, they've added more and more and more and more things that this website can do. It can do your commerce for you. It can sell your product for you. It has the ability to accept PayPal and all that. All that has come in. It links you to all your social network stuff. Anything you put on your website, you can put a Facebook or an Instagram signal on it that will go out if you want it to. And they just keep adding more stuff, and you're like, no, I don't want any more. Stop. I mean, the phone is hard enough. But I just plodded along. If you're willing to buy their gold, which I think is $35 or might even be $39 a month now, I don't know, they have somebody all the time that will answer the phone and help you. I'm stuck, I can't get this to work, I don't know how to do it. And they'll either talk you through it or they'll do it for you. A lot of times if you just play really stupid, they'll just do it for you. I really can't do that. Could you please I beg, please just do it for me. And I have a wonderful person who likes all this techie stuff, and she can go in there and go, ugh, I hate the way they do this on the newsletter. Let's do this instead. And she can wiggle things around and make it work. Sometimes I use that help, but I try and do as much of it as I can. It is so easy to go in to your website and just go to, I didn't think about doing that, but maybe if we have time at the end, I'll open my website up and just show you I'm sure everybody here has one and knows what one looks like. So I didn't think it was necessary, but where you put your menu. Yes.
Oh, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
As part of this analytical data you
Yep.
get on your website, would you get, like, under your catalog of work?
Uh-huh.
So let's say you've got 20 images, can you get information as to when someone's clicking through, like, are there
Specific
certain
images?
pieces that, yeah.
No, but they will tell you the page. What they tell you is, if you go to the breakdown of it, they're going to say, this is how many times somebody looked at your homepage, and how long they spent on your website, and what are the pages they went to. So you can get a sense of how long they stay. They don't stay very long. You are lucky to get 5 minutes. I'm not kidding, maybe 10. It's amazing how hard we work to put our face out there and how hard it is to be seen. We spend so much money, time, and effort, and I think all of us that have done this, and mostly everybody in this room has done it to some level. I don't know how many times I turn around and go, what the fuck am I doing? I want to just paint. And I spend hours chasing all of this stuff. And I'm not convinced. Yeah, it looks really good up here. But I'm not convinced that it's worth it. I have to be honest. The time.
So, do you sell more things through your website or the gallery or both?
Great question. I know a whole lot of people that have fabulous results. I'm going to go to the next thing, because it's going to talk about that. Okay, so let's just see if I'm going to come back. Let's see if I missed anything. Monthly level pricing for FASO. They have great help. You're going to take a shitload of time, sorry. I have a really bad potty mouth. I'm so sorry. It'll take years to refine your branding and your visual image. I think I just got there after probably 10 years. No, I probably have only had my website 6 years because I didn't do anything the first 4 or 5. I just learned to paint. That was enough. Time, money, and patience. know you're gonna go in, know it's gonna be hard, know it's gonna take you weeks and weeks and weeks. Get somebody to help you. It's money well worth spent. Get their help. If you get really stuck, get somebody else that's good at this stuff that can help you, you know? Because you're gonna spend hours trying to figure it out, and sometimes it's just so much easier to pay somebody 35 or 40 bucks to do it for you, so you can go paint. I am gonna answer that question, I promise. Okay, so here's the beginning. It's your homepage. And a lot of people will fill the homepage up with everything that's coming up. Your homepage is who you are. It's who you are. It took me years to learn that. I filled it up with, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, pop-ups. People don't want to see that. They want to know look at I'm dancing. They want to know who you are. So it talks a little bit about why I paint what I paint. It has one little event down here that's small. And you've got your choices up here of where to go. This was my template that I picked. But you can change your colors. Everything that's behind everything you can change. That all comes in time and becomes refined. But can you see a feeling of similarity between that and the postcards and the ads you saw? There is a visual connection. It's quiet and it's subtle, but it's there. Notice my logo. Tobi. That is me. I'm a little whirlwind. And it fits who I am. And you remember it when you see it on other things. So I use that. Build some of that. Whatever your signature thing is, spend a little time determining what your brand is. You don't always find it right away. I've changed it a lot. I spent $700 last year, which just kills me, with a bad graphic artist that I let go at $500, and a good one that I found at $200, just to change what was under the Tobi, which was Clement / fine art. That looks real easy, doesn't it? The things that I got, begging for something different, I wanted that to come together in a different way than what I'd had it. And I spent a whole lot of money getting that. And it looks like nothing. But what I got was little pieces. Oh, the red line. I like the red line. You'd think that was real obvious. No. $500 later, I got the red line. So, and the font size. Was Clement going to be big? Was it going to be small? This doesn't look like anything. But once you establish it, then you stay with it for everything. And part of this was just trying to tighten up my logo, which I really want to use, but it's hard to get the other stuff with it. For those that are graphic artists, this was probably like a no-brainer. I'm not a graphic artist. I had to pay for that. Okay. Before I go to social media, sales. I asked people, I put my feelers out again to all my friends and buddies, where do you sell your art? Everybody said Instagram. I hate social media. Like I hate doing anything on technical. I do it because I have to. I just really started doing Instagram. I should have been doing it a long time ago. I just don't want one more thing to do. So I'm struggling with that. I have never sold anything. Maybe in the 8 years I've sold 4 paintings off my website. And I've not sold anything off of posting online. I know a lot of artists that do. They do really, 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 really well. So I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know if my art's just not good enough. I don't know. But for me, it's not been a real successful. I sold more hanging my art in my salon when I had a salon. It did really well. It's okay. I talk over a lot of things. I talk over parents all day. So again, the expectation of how do you get it out there and how do you sell it, it's tough. I don't have an easy answer. And a lot of the artists that I've talked to, some only do Instagram and Facebook. They don't have galleries. And they're really successful. Different people have different approaches and it works. I don't know if it's price point. Once you got a gallery, you can't sell your work for really less than what the gallery is going to sell it for. Sometimes you can in shows because they're okay with that. But if I'm putting something on Facebook for 800 and the gallery is selling it for 2100, you think they're going to be happy about that? Probably not. You get in a bind with that game. The gallery's going to sell it for this, and now you're going to try and sell it for that. The only way I can do that is if I've given it to the gallery and they give it back to me because it didn't sell. Then I can unload it on Facebook and Instagram and drop the price. Or put it in a show and sell it. But you walk a real fine line when you're with the gallery of crossing that line of what they think is appropriate. So did that answer your question? Was there a part I missed?
Through the gallery then, is where you've been most successful with sales?
Now, when I had my salon and I could hang my work in my salon, I sold it all the time.
No?
I sold more work that way than I sell through the gallery. Gallery marks it up. 50%. They get 50%. They get a lot for what they do.
So did you use FASO to register your domain name as well as?
Everything.
You did everything? in
Everything. Oh, and the language, the domain name, and the this, and the that, and the PayPal, and the...
They're good.
Yeah, they're really, really good. And if you go there, do me a favor, email me and I will give you a link because if I have referred you, I get 1 month for free. It's only $35, but it's take it. My gosh, we take it wherever we can, right? It's just so worth it. Okay, I can't talk to you about social media because I don't like to do it. I really don't. I would pay somebody to do this for me right now. I hate putting my time here. I haven't painted enough. I just found out 5 weeks ago that I have a show in July. I had no idea. My gallery didn't tell me. Yeah. So I've been working on, they have a lot of art. I thought, they'd be good for the summer. I've been working on workshops. The story was that the person that was supposed to be doing that, who is now fired, didn't contact all the artists. Doesn't really matter. I'm responsible. If I'm in a show, I want to have really good work. I got to order frames. I order all my stuff from Oregon. It gets shipped. Glass, mat, frame comes all together. I put everything in. All I have to do is put it together. AR glass, too, if anybody wants that contact. Webframes.com. They are fabulous. Nobody will ship you AR glass. And it would cost you, my pieces are about this big. My frames, my glass, my mats for a piece like that is under $300. And they're Jewel Larson. They're beautiful Italian, dark, beautiful frames. They're not plein air frames. I don't like plein air frames. But they're good quality, beautiful, neutral colored frames. They have lots of molding to pick from. And I buy pallets worth at a time, and I have it shipped to me on a pallet. It's completely protected. Smaller pieces, they can wrap it and ship it beautifully. I've never had the glass break. Not once. And it's all built for you. The glass is already there. You don't even have to touch it. It's all inside. You just have to take out the guts, lay your painting down, put it back together, and I don't even use nails anymore. They go would shake your painting. I put tabs on the back. So you just put tabs on the backs, and that holds your artwork in, and there's no thunking with your nail gun to put it together. So it makes it really, really easy. Okay. And they're very, very affordable. I just bought that exact same frame, an 11 by 14 for Masterwork Show, because I didn't get my shipment on time. I had to go to a local framer in Santa Fe. Just the frame. I pulled the glass and the mat out of something else. Just the frame cost me $200 at a local place. For an 11 by 14, it would have been $85 or $90 with web picture frames. That's the difference. So they're a fabulous family. It's a dad and a son and his wife, and they do a fabulous job. Okay.
11:40.
Okay, we're almost at the end.
Fine.
We're going to do it. This is going to work. Okay, we're good. Art organizations and shows. So when you have the opportunity to be a part of an organization, you're going to connect with other artists. It's critical. You want to know as many people as you can because that's your networking. Use those networks. Use those connections. Get to IAPS. Grumble, grumble, grumble. I don't want to volunteer. You are going to meet so many people there that you wouldn't have a chance to meet. It's not just I get a pass into a show. You get to meet people. You get to go up and talk to anybody if you're bold. Get to know who they are. If you got a favorite artist, go talk to them. Build connections, because at some point you're going to need something. Is that show good? How did you do that? Why is your website so effective? Can I call you and talk to you? Somebody's doing a great job out there and they're climbing the ladder. Find out why. Get to know people. Networking is powerful. You get to see workshops. By the way, I'd love to be invited to do a workshop sometime, Pastel Society. Hint, hint. You get into your shows. You build your signature status. You get public recognition. You get into a show, you win an award, talk about it. Newsletters, it's something to talk about. Use those things. Magazines, if you're advertising with a magazine and you win an award, they'll give you a little blip somewhere. Let them know, let your sales rep know, hey, I just went first or second or third. Probably not going to talk about you if you win something underneath, which is usually what I get, so it doesn't matter. But if you get one of those big ones, they'll give you a little blip somewhere. They'll include the story of your organization having a show and you won an award. Sarah Blumenshine won first place in our show just recently, and Plein Air did a little blip on her. She got coverage for free. So you can get editorial recognition. Take advantage of all that thing. Okay, bam, bam. Did I miss anything? No. Show recognitions. Okay. Local advertising versus international. This is the current thing that was on all of the newsstands. I got the cover. Who knows why, but I got the cover. Yay! I mean, I fell over when the gallery called me. Said, "You got the cover." The editor just called me. I don't know why. Just get out there. That's all I can say. Just get out there and market it and be fearless and determined and see what you can do. Galleries. Very few of them are going to build you as an artist. Used to be a gallery would take you under their wings and they would build you. They would market you. They would advertise for you. They don't. Very few. Probably 5 galleries on Canyon Road spend money marketing their artists. They used to frame all your work for you. I only know one that does that. Acosta Strong frames the work for their artists. They do all of that. You just deliver the art. Geez, when were those days? Now they're a place to sell your work, depending on who's in there. Who's the sales staff? Are they some young kid out of college that don't know anything about art? Are they dressed well? Do they introduce themselves when you walk in? We did all of Canyon Road yesterday. Do you know how many people did not come up and say, "Hi, my name is blah, 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 blah. If you want any help, I'm available to you." So if you start thinking you want to get into a gallery, pay attention to the details. Walk the galleries. See who is representing your work. How are they dressed? How do they speak? Are they introducing themselves to you? I walked into Ventana. Beautiful young gal they just hired from France. Just as pretty as could be, sweet, dressed well, walked right up to me and introduced herself. I had that happen at maybe 5 other galleries. The other ones, they're behind the desk, they don't even look up, they don't say anything, or there's some young kid that's not dressed appropriately for what they're selling in that gallery. You know, you got somebody with a lot of money, you better know how to relate to that person if you're going to make a sale for them. Pay attention to those things if you want to go and approach a gallery. There is no successful formula for getting into a gallery. Maybe somebody here like Sarah or somebody else who has done that. I got lucky. I was just in the right place at the right time, and I was gutsy, and I talked my way in. Most of them have their stable of artists, and you got to see what's missing. Do they already have 5 landscape artists? You're not going to get in. Are they only doing oils and acrylics? A lot of them are snobs. They don't want anything behind glass. Look and see. Who's got art behind glass? So, Cher, can you say anything about how you got into the gallery? Did they ask you? Did you knock on their door? How'd that work for you?
I had a bad experience in Santa Fe. So I have kind of a fear of Santa Fe now. Because I was in a gallery on Canyon Road, and it was not good. Memes, I guess I kind of did what you did. Paul was there, and I admired Paul's work, and so I asked him, and he said, "Oh, go talk to them." So I went in and talked to them, and I figured, what's the worst they're going to say? No.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
they're not going to, take you out on the street and announce to everyone that they turned you down.
Now, I've gotten real good at being a hairdresser. I just kind of find my way into conversation because I had to change gears every hour or two, depending on who was sitting in my chair and what they wanted to talk about. So I will walk into a gallery and just start a conversation with somebody. I really admire this artist. Can you tell me about them? How well do they communicate what that art is about? Then I start talking to that person. Oh, have you been here a long time? Do you like what you're doing here? Blah, blah, blah. And you get to read a little bit. And sometimes you can find an angle to get in. Yesterday, I would walk up Canyon Road and I go, I have been really having trouble figuring out how I'm going to do my framing. Can I talk to you about what's successful here? Because I really see some beautiful art up on the walls, and I'm just curious. Do you sell more gold? It was an opening. I'm not trying to say I'm an artist. Can I be represented here? I just got to know somebody in the gallery, having a conversation. They were generous. They were going to be willing to give me a little something. And it gave me a chance to know people. And then when I was like, yeah, I really like that guy. He's really, at this gallery. Maybe I'll go back and talk to them. It's just, you got to go in and get a vibe. And do you fit that vibe? Do you fit their work? Do you have a place there? I didn't find a lot of places on Canyon Road that my work would look good in. Other than where I am, to be honest. And I was curious. I hadn't walked Canyon Road in probably 3 years. I think we went into every gallery. I was so tired at the end of the day yesterday. We were there from 10 to 6.
55.
Okay. Good. Done. Networking, the most powerful tool in your toolbox. Look at that. I was standing next to them at an IAPS show representing Pastel Matte, doing my little schlucky thing in the candy store, painting, talking to everybody that walked by. And Hillman says, "That's a great box." And I said, "Yeah, I love my Hillman box." He says, "That was one of the first boxes my dad made. Can we have it?" I had it all sectioned out. I had little notes on the sides about what went where. And he said, we'll give you 2 boxes. So I didn't want to give it up. So they gave me the big one, and then they gave me the smaller one, and they put my name on it. And it was so cool. So that was really fun. I got two boxes out of the deal, and they got my old box back with scribbles all around it. This is where my grays go. This is where my... You just talk to people and network. Bam! I'm done. I did it. That's it.